and the NRBA, which no one remembers. I understand about bringing new language forward. And so I showed this to the client, and the client was like amazed because all of a sudden it's the insight. It's like, whoa, there's this way to look at it. So to answer your question, Mark, you go to the sea level. If you can't get sea level buy-in, you're just, treading water. You may be treading pleasant water, but you're not getting anywhere. And I have one more thing to say. I don't mean to make this a long speech, but I attended Digiday on Monday. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Digiday.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Digiday, actually, it was a welcome relief from going to social media things because I was with adults. And I was with people who were talking about money, not talking about the religion of engagement. Now, engagement, which is a terrible word, to get people involved, to get people talking, to learn how people feel, this is very good stuff. To learn how people use language about product, it's always amazing. And I used to come up with slogans for radio stations based on what people said, not based on what a groovy PD who'd been, professionally groovy all his life or her life knew how to say. Like, hey man, wow, is not necessarily a good slogan. But it's sea-level buy-in, and sometimes you have to work your way there. But if you're not, and the reason I'm talking about Digiday, as opposed to many social media things, and I've presented at them, I've done this, is that at Digiday, they were talking about the reality of the business, and they were fully aware of social media as part of the structure, but part of the structure of making money. And I find that a lot of social media people don't talk at all about making money. And if you're not talking about bottom line, even if it's somewhat ethereal, you're just, as I said, treading water.
Well, let me ask you this. Did any of them talk about how they made money on social media?
They talked about using it as part of the reach.
Okay, so they didn't actually, they still didn't
have
the data yet.
None of them talked metrics because there are no metrics.
Right. Okay, so then at least they've accepted social media as a way to make money, but they're not yet ready to benchmark it yet.
Actually, they talked about the importance of having it, and their perception of social media was much less Twitter and much more Facebook. And remember, with Facebook, if you're already spending money on Facebook, not if you're on the outside, you do get some Facebook analytics. Joe Blow from the outside is not getting analytics.
Well, you can now put Google Analytics on your
Facebook.
But there's layers. Facebook is the ultimate walled garden. You look up silo in the dictionary, it says see Facebook.
I mean, Omniture and Web Trends, Omniture has a solution. Web Trends also has a solution now in place. Google Analytics has a workaround, but like a single pixel thing you can kind of stick in there like an image. You can put an image into your pages and then the image can talk back to Google Analytics. So there is actually ways of doing it, but Google Analytics doesn't have anything like built custom report for Facebook.
So one of the opportunities is helping our clients identify and quantify their sales process. When I've gone through sales training, Dave Sandler has something called the cookbook, where you figure out how many people you have to call on in order to see so many people, in order to present so many times, in order to close so many sales, in order to make so many dollars. So, has anybody actually done something like that?
I think we estimate those kinds of things a lot, actually. Like, well, how many people have to see a product page in order, because we know what percentage is going to. Unfortunately, that kind of analysis is fairly linear and doesn't actually take into account the different types of people that might come, and their conversion rates may be different. So I think in a lot of cases we don't.
Yeah. There's a question in the back.
Yeah, I went through the Sandler training, and we tried to have that implemented within the organization, and got choked by process, and sales went down.
Choked by process? What's that?
What's your name? And can you introduce yourself?
I'm Joe Mulligan. I'm a sales guy. I've sold technology. The company that I was with was Actuate Reporting, like business intelligence company.
Are you still associated with the Sandler Group anywhere?
Oh no, I was just a sales guy, and it was just a class that we had taken, and I just kind of saw it really not do so much.
What? The pizza's here.
I just offer a comment related to this, and to going back to your original
question. There you go. Anyone want this?
I'm involved in I'm not a social media person. I study how customers use information and how they make decisions, and I've been doing it for a long time. And in this environment where they are trying to make decisions, they have a lot of different choices. So it seems like, from a client side, they wanna know what's a Twitter project gonna cost me? What's a Facebook project gonna cost me? But what I haven't really seen yet, I'm involved in this experiment in a site called Cheap Today. It's value shoppers, or it's women, 18 to 54. It's very, very interesting because we're able to do a certain amount of research on the site, and there's Twitter, and there's a blog, and there's Facebook, and what we're trying to understand is this interrelationship, and it's not clear yet. It really is not clear, but we know that we know that Facebook is really important for a certain kind of person to be able to say, I got really good values in these brand names for women's accessories, for example, and that's having an impact. We know there's other people though who are like diehard, shoppingaholics who they want the tweet of what's the hot item today, and they're going to go out to lunch hour to the actual brick location and buy something. So in the same way that you asked the question, map your sales cycle. Well, there's like a need to map. What's the interrelationship for the customer as information user of these different choices, including email, right? You want to really look at all of them, and I haven't seen anybody really doing that. Is anyone doing that where you're mapping the interrelationship of these different?
Well, you can go cross-channel. It's difficult though, because I find in order to do cross-channel conversion and tracking, you really have to map everything out ahead of time and think about enablement before you do anything. Like say you have a catalog and you want to see, well, how many people see the catalog, that then see a sign billboard, that then, then go online. In theory, you could track all of that if you were willing to sit down and, really think of everything before you print up any manuals, but no one does it. It's just so hard. No one ever does it well, or I should say no one hardly ever does it well.
Well, it's interesting. In the absence of
no
one having a real good sense of how it's all interrelated, what is
It's too hard.
people looking for? How large is your email list? Right? They
Yeah.
go to something that they know,
Right,
in
that
their
sounds
venue, they
familiar
know
to
it.
us.
So they're
Yeah.
now saying, how large is your email list? So you now the entrepreneur is now making sure you sign up for an email, and then
Finally caught up to that
But
level.
the email you might send
Yes.
out is totally different than a tweet
Yes.
on a topic. So it's a different thing. So now you're
Yeah, it's a different way.
apples and oranges.
Yes, the different cultures of different forms of communication.
Yeah.
So, but you see how the money follow the money. The money is saying, how big is that email list again?
Actually, one thing I said to the same client that we got to go for the 3 and spend money, when they said, social media. And
They said that at one point before.
early in our discussion, and I said, remember when you wouldn't let people, and this one I just pulled this out of the air and it worked. I said, remember when you wouldn't let people in your company email, and your lawyers told you email was dangerous?
Right.
And he was like,
But you did.
and it was like, yeah. And I said, well, you had to email at some point. He said, well, yeah. I said, you have to tweet now. And I felt weird saying that because he's really not